This has been an exciting demolition derby, ladies, gentlemen, and intelligent zombies. Did I say intelligent zombies? I meant ghouls. This has been a hard-fought match, and it's still going strong. And look at this. One of the contestants has gotten out of their vehicle and has begun to punch one of the other opponent's vehicles. I don't know how smart that is. And look at that. He's got run over by another vehicle. That clearly has to hurt, given the fact that screams of pain can be heard throughout the arena. I wonder if he has learned his lesson to remain within his vehicle. Nope. He hasn't learned anything, and he won't be learning anything else, since the rest of them had just gotten popped like a grape. Good times, good times. Greetings and welcome to Checkpoint Gaming. With this episode, we will be going over how to play the game Gaslands Dirty Fight. With Gaslands Dirty Fight was designed by Marcin Zahorwicz and published by Green Miniatures. This is a fan-made add-on game based upon the game Gaslands Refueled that can be used during a scenario or can be played as a standalone variant where a fight occurs outside of a racing arena and scenarios found in the core rulebook. We did a series of episodes in Gaslands Refueled, the spin-off game Martian Racing Federation, and Gaslands Legacy, so if you haven't listened to those episodes yet, you can find links to them within this episode's description. So if you want to have your drivers send their disagreements in a bar, street, alley, or your mother's whorehouse, this variant can be the means for you to do this. Regarding the models, miniatures that are standing upright at a 172 scale is the default scale, but they can also be scaled down to Gasland's 164 scale if preferred. For the bases, they should be round in nature and should be approximately scaled to the vehicles being used. With any crew member that's found outside of a vehicle, either after the vehicle crashed or they bailed out, they will be given their actions after the last vehicle takes its movement action. For the other actions that are taken by the crew members, it is done in the same order as the vehicle's movement. Regarding the vehicle's crew, they are allowed to leave their vehicle either forcefully or willingly. With forced bailouts, they occur when a vehicle gets destroyed. With willful bailouts, they occur when a vehicle stops. What this means is that the vehicle's gear goes down to first gear and the vehicle comes to a full stop, which will allow the crew to get out of the vehicle. When a vehicle is fully abandoned, then the correct survival roll is not to be made, which is pretty obvious. And with willfully leaving the vehicle, any number of the indicated crew members are allowed to leave the vehicle. With willfully leaving the vehicle, it is a bit lore-breaking given the fact that, with the warden, the prisoners are rolled into their vehicles. We can understand when it occurs with forced bailouts when the vehicle gets destroyed, but even then, it isn't guaranteed that they'll be able to get out due to them being welded in. But we'll leave this up to the players on how to go about dealing with this. That the prisoners are welded in is just ignored, that the warden isn't allowed to be used as a sponsor, or some other decision that the group decides to use. When it comes to that of surviving a crash, it is dependent upon the vehicle type in question. In the crash survival roll, a 1d6 is to be made for each of the crew members indicated by the given vehicle's dashboard, so each roll is made separately. In order for a crew member to survive, they'll have to roll equal to or higher than the number indicated upon the crash survival chart. The target number is also subject to modification due to additional factors which are listed upon the crash survival modifiers chart. But regardless of the modifiers or any other conditions, a natural die roll of 6 guarantees survival. With the bike with sidecar, buggy, drag racer, gyrocopter, and helicopter, the player will have to roll a 6 in order for the crew member to survive. With the ambulance, car, ice cream truck, jeep, performance car, pickup truck, tractor, and truck, the player will have to roll 5 or better in order for the crew member to survive. With the bus, monster truck, and motorhome, the player will have to roll a 4 or better in order for the crew member to survive. And with the armored personnel carrier, tank, and war rig, the player will have to roll a 3 or better in order for the crew member to survive. With the crash survival modifiers, they make it easier or harder for the crew member to survive, where positive numbers make it easier for them to survive, while negative numbers make it harder to survive. So these numbers are either added or subtracted to the die roll. When the vehicle is in gear 1, the modifier value is a +2. When the vehicle is in gear 2, the modifier value is a +1. When the vehicle is in gear 3 or 4, the modifier value is that of 0. When the vehicle is in gear 5, the modifier is that of a -1. And when the vehicle is in gear 6, the modifier value is that of -2. Regarding equipment, they add either a +1 or +2 modifier value to the vehicle, with some vehicles being equipped with dedicated equipment in order to help the survival of the crew. With the vehicles that were willingly left abandoned by its entire crew, it's possible for an opponent's crew to steal or commandeer it. In order for this to occur, the opponent's crew will have to come to a complete halt, followed by one of its crew members getting out and getting into the abandoned vehicle. The crew also possesses 2 hit points, but only if they leave their vehicle either forcefully or willfully. When inflicting damage, any successful 2-hit rolls from either hand weapons or machine gun will inflict 1 point of damage. All other weapons will inflict 2 points of damage for any successful 2-hit roll. After leaving their vehicle, said crew member can perform a number of actions which is equal to that of their initial vehicle's handling value +1. This number is also without any vehicle's modifiers, perks, or equipment. This number will indicate how many actions the foot-borne crew member is able to perform. With their actions, they're allowed to perform one of the following. First is moving on foot, where the crew member is able to move up to a template length in any direction. The crew member also doesn't have to use the entire template length that is available to them. Second is range attacks, where the crew member is able to shoot at enemy vehicles and enemy crew members found on foot and described by the weapons rules found within the core rulebook. Third is melee attacks that require the bases of the models or figures to be adjacent to one another. Fourth is manning an abandoned vehicle, which requires either vehicle to come to a halt, a crew member get out said vehicle, and then enter and operate the abandoned vehicle. Fifth is scavenging a wreck, which allows the crew member to search the wreck of a crashed vehicle and salvage any equipment and weapons found within it. And sixth is get down or get up, where the crew member can drop down to the ground, thus making it harder for their enemies to hit them or to get back up on their feet after getting down in order to continue moving. When it comes to that of dismounted and surviving crew members that fight using ranged weapons while on foot will resolve their actions as described in the core rulebook, but with a few exceptions. When resolving hits and ranges, they are the same as that in the core rulebook, along with the number of attack dice, weapon type, and rules being the same as that in the core game. It is also assumed that every crew member is equipped with a handgun and melee weapons, accompanied by the fact that they possess a 360-degree arc of fire. With resolving melee combat, it is done the same way as range attack, with the exception that the base 2-head roll is 4+ using a 1d6. In addition to this, an attacking crew member will have to have their base be adjacent to a crew member or vehicle being attacked. But regardless of the combat result, the crew member is free to move aside in their subsequent actions. By covering this, there are some modifiers that are to be applied when engaging in combat while on foot. First, we have cover, which provides a -1 modifier. The crew member's visibility is half of their given height. Second, we have running, which provides a -1 modifier. When a crew member runs, they have made at least 2 subsequent movement actions. This also doesn't apply to vehicles, obviously. Third, when a target is classified as being lightweight, a -1 modifier is to be applied. Fourth, when the target is classified as being middleweight, no modifier is to be applied. And fifth, when the target is classified as being heavyweight, a +1 modifier is to be applied. With foot-borne crew members, they are allowed to move any number of times during their action phase, only being limited by the number of actions they currently possess. When moving, the distance that they cover is equal to half of their short template, and they can move in any direction. When they move across things such as obstacles, low walls, and difficult terrain, their movement is cut in half, starting at the beginning of the given action that causes the crew member to enter said piece of terrain. For purposes of simplicity, if a player decides to give their crew member perks, only the following perks are allowed to be purchased, and they must be paid for each crew member found upon a given team. So basically speaking, these perks cannot be limited to a single crew member if there are 2 or more crew members found within a single vehicle. First, we have trained in ranged combat, which costs 2 cans per crew member. With this perk, it causes the crew member or crew members to be professionally trained fighting a handheld weapon, thus causing them to become proficient in their use. As a result of this, it grants them a +1 modifier to their 2-hit rolls when shooting. Second, we have crew selection, which costs 3 cans per crew member. With this perk, it causes the crew member or crew members to be hand-picked individuals that are top-notch professionals that possess uncanny reflexes, stamina, and perception. As a result of this, it grants them an additional action after they leave their vehicle. And third, we have Die Hard Crew, which costs 1 can per crew member. With this perk, it causes the crew member or crew members to be tough as nails, daring, and dauntless, causing the crew to be able to make it out of their post-apocalyptic dystopia of Earth. As a result of this, it grants them a +1 modifier to the forced vehicle abandonment test. Like perks, additional equipment is able to be purchased for all the crew members found upon the team. At the moment, this only consists of upgraded sidearms that cost 1 can per crew member. When purchased, it improves the gun's handling and range, with the range being equal to have double the medium template. To round everything out, we have vehicle upgrades, which at the moment only consists of the improved damage control system. It costs 2 cans and causes the vehicle to become equipped with an inbuilt safety system for the entire crew. As a result of this, it grants the vehicle a +1 modifier to their forced vehicle bailout survival test. So with that said, that's what you need to know about playing Gaslands Dirty Fight. If you liked this episode, feel free to give it a like, and if you want to stay up to date on any future episodes we upload, go ahead and subscribe. You can also support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/checkpointgaming. See you in the next episode, and happy gaming.